guys, we're all about helping metal musicians, but again, a lot of these concepts will carry over into everyday life. Ken, you mentioned to your career. Even if you don't plan to be a full-time musician, you can use the concepts we're going to talk about to help you in whatever area of life, whether you're wanting to get that next raise or go to that next level in your company or start your own business or whatever it is. But so the hobbyist versus professional, I know some folks, I don't know what percentage of our listeners and the people in our courses, right? A lot of them are hobbyists, right? So a lot of them are just kind of like, hey, I want to play guitar, or I want to learn music theory, want to learn how to sing, but maybe you don't have any aspiration to take it further. What would you say to that though, Ken? Like, I mean, do you encourage people, or do you think we should encourage people, hey, take that next step, or just, music being a hobby is fine?
Well, I'd say, music being a hobby is fine. But I would also say that being a musician is not for everybody going that career route. It's a very challenging road. There's a lot of ups and downs. And I would even say many times there's more downs than ups, because, you're having this, well, what are the ups in this case, right? You're creating music, you're utilizing your imagination to bring to birth a piece of music that has come from your mind. Like, that's an amazing thing that we as humans can do. Like, we have this ability to tap into our muses, right? And as a musician, you're a very emotionally intelligent person to be able to do something like that. Okay, that's because you're tapping into the feelings of how it affects you. But to create a career out of music can be very challenging, because you're not always having to think about whether or not, it's just making music. It's also, you want to live off of making music, and you have to find ways to become, self-sufficient. Now, Jason, I know but for our listeners who don't know, right, I'm a professor at 2 universities, and I, tell my students all the time that, the music business nowadays is not about, getting that one hit single anymore. It's about
way different.
multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. You have to be able to leverage your time and your efforts to create something that is, one, you can use your time to make something actively, right? That can be a job, that can be, anything. It can be you going to a live gig and performing every week or every day. Then you also have the ability to, can you earn money passively too, right?
Right.
That's another part of this. We have to keep the cog wheels turning, so to speak. We can't just rely on one source, because if that dries up, then we're screwed. So, right. That's the thing that I tell my students all the time. And I think, if you're perfectly happy just doing music for yourself, that's great. I would also say, don't be afraid to release it. And see where that goes. I would take any creative endeavor with with a lot of forethought in mind, because I mean, I've been working on my own music for several years, and this upcoming album that I'm trying to release has been in the works for since its inception, was 8 years ago. So it's a long time coming, but but my point is, everything has to be done with intention. So if you're going to go down this route of making music, what's your intention? It's different for everybody. And if you want to do it as a way to just release, I don't think that there's any problem with that. People use it for therapy all the time. But if you have an inner voice calling to you that's saying, this is what you should be doing, and that's the only thing that you think expresses you, then you need to seriously think about stepping up your game and making it into a business and going all in on it. It's really, to me, that's how I look at it. And what are your thoughts? I mean, do
Well,
you
your
agree?
career path. Yeah, I mean, your career path is a good actually, both of us right now are, our paths are kind of different. You and I, we both started Metal Mastermind, so we have that common ground. This is our core business. But I have other things going on, other streams of income. So do you. And Ken, you're the perfect example of someone who you've been ingrained and you really went all in. And I don't know if you look at it that way or not, but I mean, you're a professional audio engineer, you're a professor at universities. I mean, that's a big thing, right? And you're still
Yeah.
pretty young, dude. I'm an old guy. You're the young guy. So, but you're a great example of that. Of like,
Thank you.
okay, so you didn't get signed on some label, and that's fine, but it didn't stop you from being involved in music and pursuing some sort of music, being in that environment for a living. Whereas me, I never went all in. I played in bands and I've sang and performed all my life, but really at more of, I don't want to say amateur level, because some of the shows and gigs were a bit more serious than that. But I never went all in until 3 years ago when I said, screw it, I'm I'm going to leave my corporate job and I'm going to do this. I was in my mid 40s at the time. I suck at math. 3 years ago, I'm 47 now. So I was like 44 years old when I left my corporate job, and I'm like, I'm just going to go all in. But to your point and to the point we're making, as a professional musician, and what by professional, that doesn't necessarily mean like you're known among the masses. I think a lot of those days are kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say they're gone, because there are well-known bands out there, but there are a lot more musicians that are making a living off their music or music in general, that you don't know about, that you've never heard of and might never hear of, than there are musicians that about, if that makes sense, right? So to think that you have to be some famous person and have millions of subscribers on YouTube, sure, those things are great, but I've got several streams. I've got YouTube, we've got our YouTube channel. I have my own music. You and I both have our courses out there. I play live solo gigs. We do affiliate marketing for products and all kind of stuff. So that's the professional route. But I think as a hobbyist, though, even if you don't plan to go that route, I think as a hobbyist, like you said, Ken, you can still release your music. And I almost think everybody should have a YouTube channel, man. Just put stuff out there, see where it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great point. And part of this is you just don't know. That's kind of the beautiful thing about the music industry, in a sense. Some people I know have a lot of anxiety about stuff like that. But I think if you've got a creative mind, I think it's a shame if the world can't hear it.
You just heard a short clip of the very first Metal Mastermind podcast. Yes, we now have an official podcast out there for you. Now, there are links in the description of this video where you can go listen to the entire podcast on places like Spotify, Google Podcasts, even on the Metal Mastermind website. So click the links in the description of this video and check out the entire podcast. You can listen to this while you're driving, or maybe while you're at work. At work you're doing stuff you really don't want to do, so hey, why not listen to something you want to listen to, like the Metal Mastermind podcast? But yeah, click those links, guys, go check it out, and we plan to release a new podcast every Tuesday for you, so stay tuned, guys, and remember, always create your own style and sound.